Bear market. Again? Back to the bottom? Let's see. Hi, welcome to the Mad Crypto Club. My name is Marcus, and I will show you my reality with no hype, hopium, or bias. Bitcoin monthly super trend is red again, as it did in 2018 and 22. To save the month, Bitcoin need to close above 66k. If the breakdown is confirmed, then the bottom could be low to 40k. Bitcoin is also back below Ichimoku macro Kijun, and this is another sign of bear market behavior. To avoid that, then needs to recover back above it in the upcoming weeks. If we'll be able to recover in June, July, then there is a chance for a cycle top in 2027 and a cycle bottom in 2028. If we'll not recover, then the chances are to fall right between the clouds at 40k. Bitcoin on the weekly bullrun oscillator started to look problematic. In mid-May, the regime went below the median, while the impulse and the RSI were rejected by their median. Last time, when I presented this, I was expecting impulse to break out above the median and then the regime to turn back up. If Bitcoin will continue to fall, then both oscillators will go down below the baseline until they will meet and cross up. At that phase, a cycle bottom will be confirmed, and the same cycle correction case will be invalidated. If that will happen, then the price will drop to at least half compared to its value when the oscillators became bearish. That happened in 2018 and 22, causing Bitcoin to fall from 6k to 3k and from 30 to 16k respectively. Falling from 82k will put Bitcoin bottom at around 40k. Now, we have three systems showing a possible drop to 40k by Supertrend, Ichimoku, and Bullrun Oscillator. Is there any chance of recovery to avoid the bloodbath to Bitcoin and altcoins? Let's take a look on the daily charts for Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin showed weakness in August 2025 when had a top while the impulse was below the regime. The regime turned bearish in September by crossing below the median. The October top was more problematic, being made while the regime was bearish. The daily regime remained bearish until mid of April 2026, when by crossing up the median became bullish. The impulse and RSI turned bearish by mid-May, had a reset, and now these are trying to get strength and go up. So basically, what can save Bitcoin cycle and to remain in the same cycle? The answer is simple: the daily chart. Bitcoin needs to keep a bullish regime by recovering in the upcoming days. By keeping the regime and later the impulse above the median, then the weekly regime will recover too. Otherwise, it's going to be a bloodbath. Do we have additional conditions or help to sustain this? Maybe, and that's the crude oil. Crude oil had a bullish impulse by early January and a bullish regime by early February. Recently, the price looks like in a distribution setup. The impulse turned bearish and the regime will turn bearish extremely soon. This will confirm that the oil price will go lower and I'm expecting to fall back to $60. This will help the markets and eventually crypto as well. If oil will drop and a deal will be made in the Middle East, then we have chances for a crypto recovery. What will be the case for alts? Let's see. For altcoins to perform, we need BTCD to drop. BTCD is already in a bearish weekly regime, so what will be on the daily time frame? On the daily, I expect a small dominance recovery until the regime will turn bearish and until the impulse and RSI will be rejected by the median. Then later to have some many weeks of dominance chop before capitulation. But for all of these to happen, we need oil to drop and Bitcoin to pump first. Using the dominance indicator, this one printed the second buy alts, which typically is the strongest indication before the dominance chop and capitulation. That means altcoins should outperform soon. Another popular trigger for risk on assets to perform is when copper is outperforming gold. For this pair, the bull run indicator finally succeeded to break out the baseline, as it did in November 2016 and in August 2020. If history repeats, then the oscillator will go up, marking the top, like it did in October 2017 and in November 2021. We'll do it again by around April-May 2027. Let's see. In conclusion, Bitcoin is in the quicksand right now and still has chances for an epic recovery. The chances are 50-50, so pay attention to the market in the upcoming weeks. Good luck and see you soon!